Hi everyone, this is Via from Via Creates and welcome to this new video. Earlier this year I was gifted this set of HIMI gouache by one of my dear friends and I have been so excited to use it, but with all the craziness with school and everything going on in my life, this is the first chance I've had to open it. So today we are going to set up the gouache set as well as begin my first landscape journal and even start a mini painting. I hope that you can take just a few minutes out of your day and enjoy this cozy video. I loved that each color kind of had a warm version and a cool version because that will help me as I mix my own colors. And I also loved the large selection of blues and greens in this palette and this also beautiful purple. Those are the colors that I tend to use the most in my art, although I am trying to expand and try new colors. But it's always very nice to see that I will have kind of a good selection of my favorite ones. I debated for way longer than it should have taken on how I was going to arrange these. I know obviously I wanted to put them in some sort of order that looked good and made sense to me in my head, but I wasn't sure if I was going to start from going horizontally or going up and down the rows vertically, and I did decide on vertically. And I figured that I would change it if I didn't like it, but to be honest, it would have been way hard to change it, so it ended up being good the way that it was. I think that it worked with the shades as well as with the colors this way. I do not have a palette knife, but I found this plastic knife and I figured it would work just about the same. And I used this to basically mix up all the colors, and they all came with kind of a little bit of separation between the liquid and the paint itself. So just to make them all nice and smooth, I stirred each one of them up. This took a while, especially because I wanted it to not be super messy. Even though working with paint, it's going to be messy no matter what. And to be honest, gouache is pretty easy to clean up, so it wouldn't really have been that bad. But I did do my best to keep it within the well itself. And then I cleaned off the knife really good in between each one so as to prevent mixing. Now we're finally getting to my favorite part, which was setting up my landscape journal. This is a project that I've been wanting to do for a very long time, actually, quite a few months. Just didn't work out with my schedule and everything, but I filmed this over my summer break and I had the time to just kind of start new projects like this. So I found this small, very portable journal on Amazon, and I began with setting up a page for the swatches of my HIMI gouache. This book will be mostly gouache and watercolor. Not as much acrylic, I think, because I prefer doing landscapes with paints that are a lot more blendable. That's kind of the style that I like to do. And in general, these paints are a lot more portable than an acrylic set would be. Now, I did notice that there was a difference between the two white paints in the set. So one of them is a lot more warm and the other one is a lot more cool. So the warm one is the one that's just titled white, and the cooler one is the one titled titanium white. Now, I think when you mix these up, you're not going to find as much of a difference, but if you're looking for those more subtle variations of color, or you really want to have your piece be more warm toned or more cool toned, then you can try to use those different values and see what will work best. My first impressions of these paints were all very positive. I loved the pigmentation. I've worked mostly with watercolor the last couple of years, which I love, but I'm also, in my painting, I tend to kind of gravitate more towards paints that are more pigmented, so I do tend to use my watercolor thicker than other people might. And so I'm excited to see how this will work with my art style and the way that I tend to use paint. Now it's time to actually start using these paints in a painting. So I actually kept the wrappers of all the tops of the wells so that I could use up whatever paint was on there, just not to be wasteful, you know. And I started with my underpainting, and this is a very small painting, so I'm only doing the top part of this page just to kind of check out, you know, how the paints work, what does it look like when the pigments settle, how do they move around the page, and also kind of check out like what it's like with drying times, because I've heard that it does take a lot longer to dry than watercolor and acrylic. So this was just mostly my test painting, and this particular landscape is just this image in my head that I've had for a while of a field near my brother's school that was absolutely filled with paintbrush flowers in the spring, and it was so beautiful, and so I wanted to try to capture that on the page, which is why I started off with this really deep golden backdrop to kind of capture the light and color in that scene. I applied the main colors of the background while the underpainting was still a little bit wet, because I wanted to make sure that everything blended really nicely, and I wanted to get kind of a diffused look for the first part of my painting, and then as I let some of the layers dry and kind of collect together, that way I could build on later with more details. I think the golden underpainting as well was really crucial to getting the particular color of the sky that I wanted. We live in Texas, and I don't think I've ever seen a sky that's this particular color of blue. It has a lot of gold in it. The light here tends to be quite golden or yellow compared to where I grew up in Washington, where it was a lot more blue. And so I think that if I had just used the blue paints, it wouldn't have captured that almost like slightly green look that the sky often has in Texas. So I think that I was really pleased with how that turned out. I was also pleased with that layer being the first thick layer that I applied. I was able to really get that pigmentation that I was hoping for with just a little bit of paint. I'm definitely hoping to practice with these more to be able to get more techniques under my belt, but overall for my first painting with gouache, I was super pleased with how it turned out. Definitely captured the essence of what was in my memory, and perfect way to start off my landscape journal. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day.